Good morning and welcome to Weekends with Whitney. Coming up in this morning show, Donna Bell has almost been killed twice. First in a car crash 35 years ago that left her a quadriplegic. Then 3 weeks ago in South Louisiana's rapidly rising floodwaters. Meet the man who saved her life. And you'll see them meet for the first time since that life-saving boat rescue. Plus, the life-saving cancer treatment for LSU's majestic mascot, Mike 6. His veterinarian gives us the latest update on his health, longevity, and where you will and won't find him on game day. Then Dr. Nick examines how we are our response. But first, this is the home of Donna and Teresa Bell. It's right off Highway 16 in Denham Springs. This is not a flood zone. In fact, it had never flooded until 3 weeks ago. Just within a matter of less than 2 hours, 9 feet of water filled this whole area and their home. If not for a courageous boater, neither would have made it out alive.
When it rained 5 days and the skies turned dark at night.
Friday, August 12th, rains poured out of the sky. On the ground, ditches became bayous. Bayous became rivers. Then by Saturday morning, South Louisianians awoke to scenes like this.
He called me about 5:30 or 6 in the morning that his son had about 4 feet of water in his house and asked me if I would go get them.
I woke up at 6 o'clock. It was August the 13th. And something woke me up. I thought it was a tree that hit a window. And no tree hit a window, so I guess it was the water coming in.
She told me she heard water, and I thought it was a hot water heater. And I stepped off the bed, and it was ankle deep. And I said, oh no.
Their 3 lives would soon collide in a way no one saw coming. Kevin Lawson hitched up his boat to rescue his friend's son in Denham Springs.
Went down Veterans, truck water was up to the headlights. Didn't know if I was gonna make it down Veterans. I finally made it to Florida. Not only were they in trouble, but their neighbors as well. So we took them and their neighbors, got them back to my truck.
It was Kevin's first ever boat rescue.
Call my wife, I tell her, I've got 5 refugees. I know one of them. We're going to Walmart, we're gonna buy some food, and I don't know how long they're gonna stay with us.
Meanwhile, Teresa Bell and her daughter Donna, who's a paraplegic, are starting to panic. Fortunately, they have one second-story room, but Teresa has to get Donna out of her wheelchair, up the stairs, and grab anything else she can.
I made one trip upstairs, and when I come back, it was to my knees.
And I was just trying to keep her calm, because if she's not calm, then we're all gonna lose our life. That's crazy to think now.
Teresa had to make one more trip downstairs to get Donna's art portfolio. It's filled with more than 30 years of amazing drawings Donna's created using the only thing she can draw with, her mouth. In fact, Donna was a featured artist last year on one of my shows.
She went down there and she was holding it over her head. And then it was after her 8 and the water was up to her chest then.
It was muddy. And I looked out, and when I looked out, I got real scared because it was nothing but a river. I was trying to walk real fast, and I can't swim.
Oh no.
And it was coming on up, and it got up to here, and I said, Lord, just let me make it back to the stairs.
It was then that their friend, Janet Rodas, got an overwhelming feeling to call.
Miss Teresa answered the phone, frantic in fear that they were drowning.
So you put up the call, right?
I did. My sister-in-law had just posted on Facebook that a guy by the name of Kevin Lawson, before the Cajun Navy, had just rescued someone in Denham Springs by boat, and I asked her for his number.
In the meantime, Kevin made it back to his house with the refugees. Then he got another desperate call for help. His refugees joined him and would soon become rescuers as they headed toward Lockhart Road in Denham. Then Kevin's phone rang again.
She said, "You don't know me," she said, "but you know my sister-in-law, Sam." She said, "I have a family that has water about 5 or 6 feet up to their house. They're on the 2nd story. She has a quadriplegic daughter. The mother's 75 years old. Can you please go help them?" I said, "Absolutely. Where are they at?" And she told me, said, "Well, that's perfect. That's exactly where I was going for the other call that I'd gotten."
It was God's blessing that he was actually just down the road from here.
That's amazing, because they didn't have minutes to spare, did they?
No, they didn't.
The rain is still pouring. Kevin sees a man in army fatigues on the way and puts him in the boat too to help.
Don't see anything but water. So we finally get to the house, and thank God they had a staircase from the 2nd story downstairs. I don't know how we would have gotten them if there wouldn't have been a staircase outside. Docked the boat right there. Now the water's rushing, so a couple of them had to stay in the boat and hold on to the railing and the house.
And pray that didn't fall.
Yeah, exactly. So the other gentleman, the Army guy, was with us, and we walked upstairs. And when we walked in, I look, and Donna's laying on the floor. And I was like, "Dear God, just tell me exactly what to do. I have no idea."
Donna was as scared as Kevin. They agreed a sheet was the best, safest, and maybe the only way to get Donna safely onto the boat.
They had me in a sheet, and they were packing me by my feet and by my head. And I thought that when they carried me out, oh my goodness, I'm probably gonna be wet. Like, you know, they were gonna have to carry me out, and it's flooded, you know, to the 2nd floor. So they're gonna have to float me, or that was the scariest part. As I'm in the sheet, and I hope they remember where my head is. I hope I don't drown. And it was very scary. And so they put me on the boat, and I kept saying, "Where are we? Like, what part of the yard are we?" And my mom said, "We're in our pond right now." And it's like, our pond is up to the 2nd floor now? How is that possible?
The water rose higher and the rain fell harder. Highways turned into waterways. Interstates disappeared into makeshift marinas. Teresa and Donna made it off the boat and into a rescue vehicle. But signs of devastation were everywhere they looked.
I saw so many people that didn't have no way out, and they were walking in the water. And I looked down in the bottom of the truck, and I had 4 little bags for 31 years. That was my 31 years. And I started crying. My daughter broke down, and I covered my face up. I didn't want them to see me crying.
Kevin and his crew continued to rescue.
It was heartbreaking, because you'd ride down the road, over here, all right, we'll be back for y'all, we'll be back for you, we'll be back for you. And people are walking out of these neighborhoods, and we did that for probably about 3 hours.
Then Kevin got another desperate call.
My wife had gotten in touch with me by text and said that we had water up to our 2nd step. Now, when I left, there wasn't a stitch of water in my yard.
Kevin rescued others from their flooded homes as his was going underwater too. He boated back to his truck and discovered now he was stranded too. Floodwaters had overtopped cars. He and the first men he rescued were now on foot.
And we walked to Carter's grocery store about a mile or 2 away through the water.
It takes a long time to
Through the
walk
water.
a couple miles in the water.
Took a long time. So we finally got there, and a large truck came that had big tires. Oh. And I told the guy, I said, "I don't know how much money I have in my checking account, but when I get home, you can have every bit of it. I need you to take me home." So we jumped in the back of his truck, and he took us to my house there and said, we got to go. So we loaded up their vehicles and the 5 refugees. We still have the 5 refugees. So we load everybody up, put everybody in the back of the truck, their dogs. Finally, it took us 2 hours to get to Baton Rouge.
Kevin and his family checked into a hotel. They're still living there 4 weeks later. His house filled with 2 feet of water. These 4 people woke up Saturday morning, August 13th, complete strangers. And despite their devastating individual losses, they're thankful life brought them together.
And I thank God for letting us get out without getting hurt.
But my proudest moment is knowing that God told me to give her a call, and that Kevin Lawson was down the road and he was able to rescue her, because I shivered to think, what if, if I hadn't have called her, because she was just in a panic mode, just trying to keep Donna's head above water. She didn't know who to call or what to do, and it was all God's work.
And God's timing, perfect timing.
You know, it's amazing. God will give you opportunities to help. You just have to notice them. And he just gave me the opportunities, and I really enjoyed it. And I tell you, if more people would do it, they would just love it. Yeah. It's I've gotten a lot of help with my house, but no help that I've gotten has equaled the help that I was able to give.
The Bell's story of loss and devastation is echoed across tens of thousands of homes across South Louisiana. In the coming weeks, we will share ideas and insights on rebuilding lives and rebuilding property. And still to come, the biggest cat in town, Mike the Tiger, LSU's beloved mascot, is battling cancer. How this feline's fight is inspiring others. Then Dr. Nick explores how our response to things truly defines us, as Weekends with Whitney continues.
Maggio, the only way to go. Maggio Buick GMC, your satisfaction's our specialty. We really deliver on Falls River, here in New Roads. Small town atmosphere, legendary service for over 60 years. Maggio, the only way to go. The only way to go, that's Maggio.
9-time winner of the prestigious GMC and Buick Mark of Excellence Award.
Who says an old dog can't learn new tricks?
Do you want to learn how to inspire?
Learn to fly?
Or learn how to drive?
Take a run around this park.
Or this park.
Or this park.
And we'll teach you how to dance.
And reach for the sky.
No matter your age, BREC offers classes to keep you moving, learning, and having fun.
Visit BREC.org and see how together we've made BREC better than imagined.
Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees. Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. Yesterday, for the first time, Mike the Tiger was intentionally kept off of the football field in LSU's home opener. He's in a battle tougher than anything you'll see on the gridiron. He's battling cancer and proving in the process what a fighting tiger he is. He's impressive, incomparable, and now, more than ever, inspiring. Mike the Tiger is fighting cancer with the spirit of a true champion.
He doesn't know he still has cancer. His weight didn't change, his appetite hasn't changed, or his personality. He's really doing well.
Mike has a rare, inoperable, incurable cancer, spindle cell sarcoma. A tumor was discovered 4 months ago around his right eye. Veterinarian Dr. David Baker says Mike wouldn't be alive today without the expedited radiation treatment at Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center.
The tumor was growing so rapidly and was displacing his eye, one of his eyes, upward. It was moving his eye upward. That if he started having problems with that eye, that would have been the end. Because we're not going to allow him to suffer. So we treated him, I think, at just the right time.
It's also time, Dr. Baker says, to keep Mike off the field on game days.
We think it's important to minimize his stress while he has this cancer. We don't want to weaken his body with stress and encourage the cancer to come back sooner than it might have. So we think this is an important part of managing him and treating him.
Fans are disappointed, but also understanding.
It'll be sad not to see him at the first game because he kind of like pumps everyone up and he kind of gives everyone that spirit, that boost, especially the players.
Bodes well for the opposing team, but his spirit lives through with all the players and everybody wearing purple and gold.
Fans will still be able to see Mike on game days, though, in his habitat.
The fans can see him out here in his yard, in his enclosure, and that'll be a good thing too. There's always some stress on a game day, but we'll leave his night house door open for him so that he has the option of going in if it bothers him.
Rarely is Mike bothered by onlookers. He's as excited to see his fans as they are.
Happy. I just feel so happy. He makes me feel tough and powerful.
Hi, Mike! The powerful dose of radiation successfully shrunk Mike's tumor. Now the only visible sign of anything is, fittingly, this purple spot. It emerged just a few weeks ago at the site of treatment. Proof, perhaps, he's LSU through and through. LSU freshman Susanna Bobeo says he embodies the true spirit of the university.
He's a symbol of unity. Everybody loves him, and so he's kind of like the face of LSU, and everybody feels the same way about that, how they all love the school as much as people love Mike. I think he's awesome.
Through his battle with cancer, Mike is blazing a trail in the medical world. He's the first Tiger in history to undergo radiation cancer treatment. How he responds, how fast the tumor grows back, and other information doctors glean from Mike's case will be instrumental in all future cases. That valuable medical information could even possibly expand to other members of the feline family. Dr. Baker says he's been amazed how Mike's fight against cancer has inspired people fighting cancer too.
I was not prepared and really didn't foresee the outpouring of emotion that and concern and compassion that people put on his Facebook page. And in some way, it kind of gave them hope in their own struggles. And I think it was best stated by one woman who shared Mike's news feed with another woman, and under it she wrote, "See, now you and Mike can fight cancer together."
Mike's cancer, though, remains incurable. Radiation reduced the tumor and extended his longevity from a few weeks to hopefully a few years. But the tumor will grow larger with time. Even though Mike 6 will never again appear in Tiger Stadium, Dr. Baker says there's no search underway for Mike 7. This Mike has earned his stripes.
Just that fighting spirit, you know, he's got that terrible, terrible diagnosis that he got, and he's still prancing around when you see him out here, he's taking it like a champ.
If you'd like to check in on Mike, you don't even have to be here in person. You can watch him on his live Tiger Cam 24/7. And still to come, how our response to things is a defining factor in ourselves. Dr. Nick shares some powerful insights right after this.
Classic Hits 103.3, Scott Ennis, welcome to the ride home. Put the seatbelts on, hug the babies when you get there. Later. I can't. I'm going to play it later, Chris. Chris, not now. I'm busy. I'm busy right now, buddy. Later. I'm going to play it for you. Later.
Scott Ennis is back on 103.3 Classic Hits. What are we? Wow, isn't that a loaded question? In many ways, we are a response to everything around us. Dr. Nick joins us with that this morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Whitney. And an interesting topic, because a lot of times we talk about being proactive and charting your territory, right?
Right.
Create your course, set your goals, find your bliss. There's this forward movement. But we just sometimes forget that life really is about my response. And I think of the word responsibility, which we use again a lot, and look at the word, I mean, it just comes right out of it, respond. So to say that we're looking forward is fine, but it's also important to think of who am I when it comes to my response to a problem, my response to my children or my child not doing well in this grade, in this exam, my response at the red light when it's not working and I'm sitting there waiting, taking my turn when I've got to get somewhere. These are minor. My response to what's been going on in the world.
Crisis.
We look at how, and that's a reflective posture, because we can reflect on the behavior and think, oh, that's how I responded to that.
Yeah.
You see, so it becomes a very powerful question of, not how do I, but how did I, and then we can make the corrective.
Well, and when the two are so incongruent, that really should cause us pause, right?
Yes.
Like if you're really a kind, nice, gentle person who gets enraged behind the wheel of a car when you're in traffic, or at the clerk who doesn't respond to you fast enough, there's a disconnect.
That makes me think of the whole question of one's mission statement and one's values, and then having to put that up against my behaviors. That's exactly what you're saying.
You're right.
If I call myself out as being, I'm a person that's peacemaker, or I believe in kindness, I believe in acceptance and tolerance of all, and then my response is intolerance. If I believe in honesty, and then my response is, how can I get out of it? Let me lie, let me cheat. It really becomes, and you can see how conflictual it becomes.
Internally
conflictual. And so we can say, well, what are you going to do about those people that well, the point is that we try to make the case that it's not healthy.
Right.
It's just not healthy. If I say that I'm this and I act this way, it's terribly incongruent, as you said.
Yeah, which will cause a lot of probably inner angst too, like, oh, golly, that's me?
Absolutely.
I mean, we've all done that.
Absolutely.
I'm guilty.
Absolutely.
We go, oh, and then we get disappointed in ourselves.
Yeah, but don't you also find it a corrective opportunity?
Absolutely. Well, and that's what I was going to say.
Okay,
right,
go.
right. So if, I don't know, you're doing your taxes and you're thinking, I wonder if I can take that deduction. Go, what do I really believe? No, I should err on the side of caution. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe there's a gray area there. But you need to always yield to honesty. I was just using that.
Yes, it's wonderful. I mean, when my response now to your being 30 minutes late is not anger anymore.
My response is on time.
I just, instead of 5 o'clock, I just go at 5:30. I know it's silly, but it's true.
I know.
I used to get so angry, and I'm like, but that was my response. And yet I would hold up that time is not the most important thing. It's just one more example of just who am I? I am my response.
I'm my response
I am my response to whatever it is that's going on in my life that day.
My child coming down in a hideous outfit, thinking they're going to a dance or a school party.
Perfect.
And you go, oh.
Perfect.
And just decide that's their choosing, as long as it's not revealing and completely inappropriate.
But it's again how we see and then navigate. How do we respond to a storm, or how do we respond to anything that throws us, that jolts us, is really also very important, because we do get hit from behind.
A lot.
And we can be traumatized, or we can say, okay, how can I respond to that?
Yeah.
How do I best respond to that? And that does take reflection. It does take consciousness.
It does take self-control.
Do you know what happened to me the other day, by the way? I was going down the hallway. It was Monday, right after, a couple of weeks ago.
Sure.
But it was the Monday, and I remember I was sighing. And Amy at the front desk said, Dr. Nick, you've sighed 4 or 5 times. That was my response. I am, and I was like, yes, I do sigh. But I thought that was a good connection, a good consciousness.
Yeah, you didn't even know you were doing
It's okay
it.
to sigh.
Sure, at least you weren't running down the hall throwing things.
Right, right. So part of learning my response is being aware and tuned in and letting others tell us, did you realize how you responded?
Well, I'm going to I'm going to say to myself when I'm in one of those situations of angst, I feel like I've got somebody throwing something at me from behind. I am my response. And how do I want that response to be?
And it brings it so down to practicality. Because, when we love to philosophize, it's like, who am I existentially? Who am I? Okay, fine. But I'm my response.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. Thanks for the great
And I'll
words
be
today.
on time the next time.
I know, I'm getting better at that.
You really are.
Oh, really? You think so?
You really are. And my response is excitement, because I am my response. Bye, everybody.
Much more Weekends with Whitney right after this. Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees. Thanks for joining us on this morning show. We hope to see you back here again next week. Until then, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you'd like to see this show again, you can head to my website, weekendswithwhitney.net, or you can head to my YouTube channel, Weekends with Whitney. Have a great Sunday. This morning, we leave you with this.